Hi everyone and welcome for this brand new Open the Box. This time we are going to open an Evolution 2-in-1. It's a 2-in-1 just because we are going to have two different nozzle inside. One of 0.2 millimeter and one other 0.4 millimeter. So it's going to be an open the box. I'm going to show you how I'm going to open all the airbrush, and we are going to take our time and make it very slowly and cleanly because it's pretty fragile of a product. So we need to take care about our airbrush. So let's go for the opening. So here is the box and we are going to open and see what it's inside. We have some instruction for use. So into the manual we have some explication in French, English, German, every language, and some first exercise to do. Oh, that's pretty cool because in my mind I don't remember these small quick tips about the starting with airbrush, and that's pretty good. So we have the airbrush directly like that. We have the 0.2 directly inside, and outside we are going to have the second set with the second nozzle, and all you need to change this, it's a 0.4, so it's more for more large model and vehicle, something like that. By the way, you have a second element like that, but a lot of time I use a small one just because I don't use a lot of paint into my airbrush, but that can be useful if you are going to paint a lot of model. So every model comes in two versions, one with some gravity paint, so you just have this on this part, and another one come with this in the back side, in the downside. It's by aspiration, so the paint is come inside by aspiration of air. So I prefer the gravity one because it's more simple in my mind, but some also prefer the other one. So both of them works pretty well. And now I'm going to show you how it's work inside, and I'm going to make it very simply. I'm not going to remove all the middle part, but all the other part. That's going to be pretty useful when you need to make a big wash of all your airbrush. So now we are going to open all of the different parts. So I'm going to remove this, remove the nozzle, always by the front of the airbrush, and I will put it later. You can remove this, by the way, and this, just to show you the different elements. When you want to clean everything, you can always remove by with some few tools this part là to make a very important clean, but in our concern we are going to focus on very simple opening. And now we are going to come back and put everything together again. When you do that for the first time, take your time, make it slowly, and just try to make it in the best way to don't break anything from your set. Remember to put the nozzle from the front to the back to try to don't make any damage at the front of your noodle. I go back to be sure it's not going to be out just before I put this part. I just take care it's going to be in the good direction. And that's down. So after this opening, I want to show you some basic stuff I use a lot with my airbrush, just for you to know we can't start airbrushing just with an airbrush. I use, for the colors, I always give the advice to use some pro color, just because it's a very good paint and it's not going to let too much paint into your airbrush. Your airbrush is going to be really more easy to clean, and you are going to gain a lot of time about the cleaning of your airbrush. By the way, they are not easy to find sometimes, and the quantity of different color into the range is not necessarily very large. Take care to always take the opaque one, and by the way, if you don't find this, don't hesitate to use the Army Painter war paint into your airbrush. I really think it's very good paint for me. And by the way, I always dilute these two kind of color by half and half of dilution. So 1/2 medium and 1/2 paint. Try to always use the medium from the same range of your paint. Just because the chemical constitution of the paint is always something delicate, and sometimes if you don't use a good medium, you can have some bad surprise during the process of paint. So really take care about that. And by the way, if you don't want or don't have any kind of dilution medium, you can always do your dilution and your cleaner just by using in a bottle 3 parts of in English it's not so easy. So devitalized water, it's water without mineral. The same you put into some cleaner into your home, and the other part is done with some glass cleaner. So 1 part of glass cleaner for 3 parts of devitalized water. That's perfect to dilute and to clean your airbrush when you use some classical acrylic paints. For me, that's pretty important. By the way, you will probably have necessary with your airbrush, you need to have this kind of stuff. Sometimes this is coming in plastic, and to me it's really important to have something in tissue, because it's really more easy to use. And if it's a little bit uncomfortable when you paint with your airbrush, don't hesitate to put around your hand like that, and after to paint with it, so it will be more easy for your movement. Just to finish, you are going to have need this kind of product. This is some support for your airbrush you can put on any kind of table, and that's going to be more easy to put your airbrush on that. That's a really important things, and sometimes I totally forget because it's always very useful things, so I forget it's here, so I forget to tell you that. And by the way, you are going to use this kind of bottle, so you can use it as support for your airbrush, so you don't need the previous element, and you can use it to remove the paints, or when you clean your airbrush, you are going to directly use it inside this bottle, and going to keep the different residue inside the bottle, and that's really important. One thing I totally forget to tell you, it's about the quick quick link. It's really useful when you start using 1 or 2 airbrush. Sometimes you can care about your old airbrush to continue to make, for example, some primer with your paint, and in that way you can use this quick link just to put it quickly without any drill or anything else, and that's really cool to use, and that's really more fluent and easy. By the way, I'm going to give you some link of the product I use. Some link can come from Amazon, but if you can, and if you have a shop near your place, don't hesitate to go directly to your shop. It's always better to buy from your local shop. So I think I tell you everything for the moment for this first video about airbrush. So let's go for the conclusion. Oops, I just forget some few things. In order to clean your airbrush, you are going to have to need this kind of element. This is very interesting because you are going to clean all the inside the airbrush. It's really useful. The second element is the same, but I use it directly. Normally it's for tips, but to be honest, it's really useful on all the different parts, and really more easy to find just if you are just go to the pharmacy and find it really easily to clean the smaller piece of your airbrush. That's really useful. And by the way, always use this kind of glove. It's really useful because if you are not going to use it, you are going to have a lot of paint on all your hand every time, and as you can see, I use it a lot, and you just have to change it some few times, not so much for the nature. You need to use it a lot if you can, and after trash it and use another again. So this time it's okay. I think probably I will forget some few things, but I will come back to you more often about airbrush, just because a lot of people ask me about airbrushing, and I'm going to give you more tutorial about airbrushing soon. So this time it's okay. I can go and let you with the conclusion. And that's done. Thanks again for watching this kind of tutorial and video. Don't hesitate to ask in the comment if you want a new tutorial about airbrush, about some focus on some part of airbrushing. That will be a pleasure to do that for you. And by the way, you can always like, share and post a comment just to help me to reach more people on internet. By the way, you can always support me on Patreon to have more contents, and join our Discord to can share with me directly and with all our cool community your painting stuff. And that's all. Thank again, and see you for the next tutorial. Bye bye.